See, I'm a beast when you hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when you hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch and the champ only need one round like ha. Yeah, me, I'm a G-Ring here and it sound like
Mike Owens here. Today I'm joined by Dom Wooden, who returns to action 8th of July versus Frans Mlambo in Berlin, Germany for PFL Europe 2. Dom, pleasure to get your time. How are things with you today?
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
First question I want to ask, because it's new pastures. You know, you've had your Cage Warriors career, and we all kind of saw how much you wanted this next step, if you like. How does it feel to finally be just around the corner from this PFL debut?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels very good. PFL, they wanted to sign me a few months before my last Cage Warriors fight, but obviously things didn't come to fruition because obviously I had to contractually I wasn't able to. So obviously to jump ship now, obviously it feels good, and it feels good to be part of the European season and have my chance winning the 100K grand prize.
As you mentioned there, your opponent, Frans Mlambo, obviously you've already faced off against this man, maybe coincidentally or not, you're rematching him in a little over a couple of weeks' time. How do you look back on the first fight a couple of years
ago? Yeah, the first fight, he beat me on that night. Beat me on that night fair and square, obviously in his hometown. Considering like my circumstances, before the fight, outside of the fight, obviously there was a lot going on. Obviously, I'm not making an excuse or anything. Obviously, it was his night, fair and square. He won. But obviously, this time round, now the dynamics are a lot different. I'm much more improved compared to the last fight, and it will show on fight night for sure.
Coming off the Cage Warriors career, obviously you had a lot of success. You were, defending world champion over there, and you faced, the toughest competition they've got: Nathan Fletcher, Michelle Martignoni, and the like. Coming over and making this debut, does this feel like a step up in competition from Cage Warriors?
Yeah, it does. It does, to be honest, because obviously, look, you look at the bantamweight European bracket for this season. It's all tough fights. To be honest, it's all tough fights. Obviously, France is a tough fight. All the other guys in there are tough fights. Do you know what I mean? It just comes down to like the saying goes, styles make fights. And I feel I've got the best style to win this European season for sure.
This is a difficult question to ask, but when we look at the Newcastle card and we see Simeon Powell headlining and we see Dakota headlining and we see finishes for both of those guys, I want to know if you think PFL Europe as a format, do you think they want the British fighters to win?
Good question. That's a question for you to ask, but obviously, yeah, they are giving Simeon a push. They're giving Dakota a push. Obviously, they're both from the UK. I'm from the UK, so what's that? That's three.
I guess what I mean is in terms of.
Actually, I think there's Connor as well. I think there's Connor. Yeah, there's Connor as well. Yeah, it feels like it. It feels like it, but that's obviously a question you would have to ask the guys at PFL. But obviously, it looks and feels like it. But me personally, I'm not focusing on that. I don't really care about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have all the backing in the world to try and get somewhere, but if you're not performing, then you ain't gonna get it. I mean, so I don't really care, to be honest, about if PFL is back in the European, the UK fighters or whatnot. Yeah, it looks like it, but that's not my business.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Obviously, you're fighting in a tournament bracket. Memory serves, I don't think you fought in a tournament formula throughout your pro career. What was your kind of first reaction when PFL came to you and gave you this idea of 3 shows all around different European capitals in the space of, in your case, 7 months?
Yeah, I was all down for it. I was all down for it from the get go. I like the tournament season format. It's very good. Plus, it's gonna keep me active. And the thing is, like, if you look at my 2021, I fought in June, and then I fought in September, and then I fought in December. So obviously the dates I'll be fighting is very similar to 2021. So I'll be fighting July 8th, then September 30th, and then December 8th. So it's very, very similar. So I'm no stranger to having back-to-back fights on the get-go, if that makes sense. But obviously with their tournament format, I like it. It puts a lot of things at stake, and that's good, especially knowing the prize at the end. So it puts everyone on edge. But the thing I like about it is, you're fighting within your bracket.
Yeah, no, 100%. I guess with that being said, I was looking at your Instagram stories before we jumped on. I saw all the plyometric training that you're getting in, all the kind of box jumps and all the kind of strange exercises that you've been doing. And I'm wondering if you've changed preparation. Now you're fighting in that tournament form, you've got to keep the body fit and strong on a kind of time scale.
No, I've not really changed preparation in terms of like what I'm doing in training. No, not at all. It's just like I said, like my 2021 is exactly how this season format is. Like with like the dates, like it's very similar. So I'm no stranger to, like I said, like having back-to-back fights. The only thing that changed probably this camp was obviously I went out to Vegas for 5 weeks. I trained at Xtreme Couture, and I was also trained at the UFC PI with obviously a lot of high-level guys from the UFC, PFL, Bellator, and the list goes on. So in terms of change, yeah, that's the only thing that I'd say I've changed. I've switched up a bit. Obviously, I spent 5 weeks there. Like I did like started my camp obviously here in the UK, then did 5 weeks in Vegas, and I literally flew back in last week Saturday. So I'm finishing the remaining bit part of camp over here in the UK.
I did want to ask about that because I saw you spent, as you mentioned there, a couple of weeks out with a mutual friend of ours in Big Marc Diakiese. And obviously you mentioned
yeah. Do you know what? Funny enough, yeah, we were together, literally, because he trains at GB as well. This was probably like when I was like 8 weeks. No, actually no, probably like 9 weeks out before the fight. He just said to me, "Hey, I'm going to Vegas. If you want to come, you can come. Everything's sorted. You just need to pay for your flights." So I was just like, first I was like, should I really switch things up to go all the way up to Vegas and train? First I was a bit like, nah, maybe not. Maybe I'll just stay at home and just do my preparations over here at home. And then I just thought to myself, you know what? It's an opportunity. Like, how can you say no to that? Do you know what I mean? So I changed my mind. I said, yeah, I'm gonna come up with you. Initially, to be honest, we was actually meant to go for 2 weeks, but we ended up staying an extra 3, so we did 5. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity that he gave me in terms of coming out, riding out with him. So yeah, man, we both put the work in, man, whilst we were out there, for sure.
I know he's a couple of weight classes above you, but I would have loved to have seen that spar and definitely pay-per-view rounds.
Yeah, we were doing a lot. We were doing a lot of drills and stuff. We were doing a lot of like moving around and stuff. Obviously, he was training with guys. His weight class, I was training with guys my weight class as well. But obviously, we were still doing stuff together, like drilling, like grappling drills, stand-up drills, and stuff like that. So, yeah, Mark's a really good guy, man. He's a good guy, man.
He is, and obviously Eric, who runs Xtreme Couture, is another great guy. Who gave you the hardest sparring rounds in the Xtreme Couture gym? Give me the juicy gossip. Who gave you those hard rounds?
You know what? To be very honest, a lot of guys. To be honest, like if you're talking MMA rounds and I was mainly sparring with guys like Javid Bashrat, Farid Bashrat, the Bashrat Bros. They're very good. They've been helping me out a lot. Leading up to this fight, also Patchy Mix, he's a good fighter. He's gave me some good looks as well. Sparred with Cody Garbrandt as well. Had some good rounds with him. Yeah, like across the board, like from flyweight to bantamweight, featherweight. I got some really solid working with all the guys down there, to be honest. And the thing is, one thing I like as well, because obviously the UFC PI is in Vegas, so a lot of fighters, they come out to the UFC PI. So obviously the 2 main gyms in Vegas is Xtreme Couture and Syndicate MMA. But I think most fighters, they go to Xtreme Couture. So every day you're getting new bodies. Every day you're getting new bodies in and out of the gym. And it's just one of them ones, like, you can miss a session and you can go to the second session and there's still high level guys on the mats. Do you know what I mean? So it's always a good look out there.
Obviously,
whether you're in Xtreme Couture or in the UFC PI.
Yeah, no, 100%. Obviously, you've got your home team, and obviously, you know, Brad and Ash and all of them do an absolute ton for it. I'm sure, camp over camp. But how important is it for a fighter at your age who's still developing to get those new looks, to get those new wrinkles? You know, that we hear the term iron sharpens iron. How important is it to constantly be getting new looks and different looks?
No, it's very important. It's very important. To be very honest, early on in my career, I was always like reluctant to maybe branch out and just try and train in other places just to get different looks. I was always like, nah, I don't really want to go there because I might fight these guys in the future. But at the end of the day, this is MMA. You can fight anyone at any given time. Do you know what I mean? But in doing so, in terms of branching out and just getting different looks, to be honest, I don't want to say I wish. Obviously, I've done it already now, but maybe I should have did it a little bit earlier on in my career. I mean, obviously not leave home. Obviously, my base is still here in the UK, but obviously in terms of branching out to different gyms and training with high level fighters from UFC, PFL, Bellator and stuff like that. Maybe I should have did it a little bit earlier, but obviously I'm thankful I did it this time round. Getting ready for this fight, and obviously it's a different look, and obviously gives you a different perspective because obviously you see how certain fighters live their lifestyle, how they move about with their training and stuff. So obviously you can take things from different guys. Do you know what I mean? Not just obviously staying in one box, staying at home every time. Do you know what I mean? It's good for fighters to branch out. It doesn't mean to leave your home gym. You don't need to leave your home gym, but it's good to obviously branch out and mix it up with different bodies, learn from different fighters. You know what I mean? And just take what's necessary to you.
And that was one of the questions I wanted to ask. You kind of touched on it there. I'm wondering, going into this tournament, where you kind of see yourself. You've got a 9-5 record. You've fought in a lot of promotions. You've been world champion in a different franchise. Do you see yourself as a veteran, or do you still see yourself as a prospect in the way that some of these other guys perhaps are?
Honestly speaking, a lot of people look at me. I'm a young vet, man. I'm to be honest, yeah, I am a young vet. I'm 26. I've been in this game for quite a while now. I had my first amateur fight when I was 16. I turned pro when I was 18. 26 now, going to be 27 in a couple months. Yeah, I'd say I'm a young vet, but I'm still elevating and evolving my game. Do you know what I mean? Elevating and evolving my game like a prospect. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still taking in things, soaking up things like a sponge. Do you know what I mean? And my game is improving. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone sees me as a striker and whatnot. That's cool. I think, to be honest, for example, I can be a BJJ black belt right now, but people still see me as a striker because most of my fights is within the stand-up area, and all my wins come via KO. So obviously, no matter where I get better in whatever area within MMA, I think people will always see me as a striker, to be honest. But to be honest, that's a good thing for me. Do you know what I mean? I like to surprise people. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's what I'll be doing this season for sure.
What means more going into this first season fight, winning the 100K or winning the tournament?
Sorry?
What means more going into this 2023 European season, winning the 100 grand or becoming the tournament champion?
This is prize fighting. You can, honestly speaking, you get a lot of fighters, they say, oh yeah, I want to be the greatest of all time. I want to be this. Yeah, it's great. You can do that, and obviously aspire to be that for sure. But at the end of the day, if you got nothing to show for it after your career's done, then what? Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, this is prize fighting. So obviously, if I was to pick the money or the belt, I'd pick the money all day long. Whoever don't pick the money, then the belt is pretty damn stupid to me. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, the belt is obviously cherry on top of the cake for sure. But obviously the main incentive there is obviously the money, just like the $1 million season. I mean, like, obviously, yeah, you get the belt and whatnot, but every fighter within the PFL seasons is looking at the money for sure. Do you know what I mean? This is prize fighting at the end of the day. This career don't last long. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, the big incentive there is the money. Obviously, getting the belt as well, great. I've held the PFL belt, and it's freaking nice, man. It's very nice, very heavy. I definitely want one of that for sure. So obviously, with me winning this European season, I'll definitely be getting that title as well.
I love it. Last one from me, and you can take this question however brief or as detailed as you like. What I'd like you to do is give me a walkthrough of the perfect day on the 8th of July. So what happens when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night in Berlin?
Well, when I wake up in the morning, I obviously hope it's going to be a sunny day in Berlin. Just a pretty chilled morning. Obviously, what I normally do, obviously, I'm very chilled. Obviously, go downstairs, have my breakfast and whatnot, where all the fighters are in the hotel and whatnot, and obviously nice morning shakeout. Just pretty much chilled, man. I don't really like to do too much on fight day. I like to relax, chill. Obviously talk about the fight with my coaches in terms of like the game plan and whatnot, and go through things before the fight on the day. And obviously on when the fight happens, obviously a smooth, clean, dominant performance. I see for sure, man. I have improved a lot since our last fight. I know it. He knows it. His team knows it. My team knows it. Like if I look back at Frans as a fighter, like if I look back at his last few fights, obviously I know he won the Combat Globe tournament, which was great. But when I look at him as a fighter, he's not. I don't think he's evolved. I don't think he's evolved as much as when we last fought, to be honest. And that's going to show on fight night for sure. And you're gonna see the difference for sure. Everyone's going to see the difference for sure. But listen, don't get it twisted. Frans is a tough fight. He knows I'm a tough fight. We both know each other because we spent 3 rounds with each other. So second part of the fight, when we start round 4, he's gonna know. He's definitely gonna know for sure. He's gonna know. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to getting this one back for sure. Definitely.
I love it. Dom, it's great to see you back in action. It's great to see you making this PFL Europe debut. I wish you the best of luck for the 8th of July. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mark.